This week on SV Lynx. Welcome to this week's SV Lynx video. Last week we got started on the Bilges. This week we got more work done on that, plus started working on the forward cabins, which we are standing in right now.
Yeah, we're on the port side, and this will be a bed where we're standing, and we're actually standing in the storage bin right now. But we're going to get these shelves worked on, and those shelves worked on, and the new hanging locker, and lots of stuff. So let's go ahead and get onto it right now. Good morning. We are up in the forward cabin on the port side, and it's cold, which is fine, but it'll warm up a little later. So it's too cold to do epoxy right now. It's in the 40-degree Fahrenheit range, or that in Celsius. But what we can do is start cutting in the pieces for the cupboard that goes here. This is all storage, and the cupboard that goes over, turn that a little bit. The cupboard that goes over here, that goes in there. Turn back. Cool. And then we're going to add something that's not in the plans here. We're going to put a little hanging locker right here that you can, I'll have a little rod there so you can hang hangers right here if you want, and store some hanging stuff in here. There's a hanging locker up in the forward portion of this cabin, but we think we're going to add another little one for sort of longer term storage of some jackets for cold weather and that kind of stuff, and your warm water places. You just can get them out of the way over here until then, because otherwise the space is unused up here anyway, so we might as well build some. So we're going to start cutting things here. So the first thing we got to do is cut a bottom here, and then there's a shelf that goes in the center here. Those are all, I should say, we don't have to cut them, they're pre-cut. We just have to adjust them a couple millimeters or 1/8 of an inch here and there just to make sure it all fits perfectly, and we'll get those set. And then the other thing is that in the plans, which I'll show you right here, you can see that the cupboard's wide open, and we don't really like the idea of that, because if you put stuff in here and you're sleeping here and your head's right here and stuff comes tumbling out, it's going to land on you, and that would be an abrupt awakening. So even if it was light stuff, you don't want it landing on your head while you're asleep. So we're going to enclose these cupboards and faces. So what we're going to do is we're going to seal in this part right here and this part right here, and then between here and here we're going to have doors that open up for the top shelf and the bottom shelf here, and so those can have latches, and now everything will stay in here even if the boat is a rocking and a rolling. So that's what we're up to. So this first shelf here is the bottom one, and it's just slightly, you can see this black line here, just slightly off. And you know, why is that slightly off? Well, that's because we put in all these bulkheads by measurement, and you know, if we're within this much of accurate, good deal. But you know, we're just tiny bits off, so we'll have to trim this just a little bit right here. So Brian's going to cut that off right now. Let's see how it fits. Slight more adjustment. Sweet. So it fits now. Just got to round two corners because there's a cove it has to fit into there. Give that one a pretty good rounding. All right, now give it a shove. This is all pretty good now. Matches up with the outside there, matches up here, and matches up on the bottom once I bring that down. This end right here has this little gap in it. And that's probably to do with the fact that we curved and warped and this chamfer panel here like crazy. And so we've warped it out of this shape. So it's easy enough. We're just going to cut a piece to go in here to seal this compartment completely. So here's our custom little piece that we just made. Very odd little piece, but this will press down in here and take care of that little gap just over there. And the next step, we're going to get these ones put in over here. And those fit just about perfectly already. I have to look on the plans, but I think one of them goes here. This probably goes down a little bit, and this one probably comes down to here. Those fit nicely. Okay, we're on to the shelf now. It goes about, wait a minute, right there, as far as the height on this side. Wow, it's still too tight over there. This end is just a little long. Now we're getting close. We're getting level close. Let's see where we're at with the level. Dead on that one. In this case, it fit a lot better, so it fits on this notch here and fits right up against here because this wasn't that chamfer panel that had to get oddly curved over there. So up here it fits all pretty well. And we've got these pieces. These are the lip that go on each of the shelves. And so they're all ready to go. Brian's just pulling the peel ply on them over here right now. And while he's doing that, I'm over here working on these. So we have to cut out a piece to go and fill the sides in here, because we don't want these doors to be all that long. So we're going to bring the sides over, and then we can just make the doors inset a little bit. I need to hold this in position while I draw. Got it. And now we got these little walls that we're putting on here. So this goes in to fill up this gap. Just like that. And then the doors will be high and a low door here. And so then we'll need this one over here, which is going to fill in this side of it. So we get our opening there. So working on our add-on hanging closet that's not part of the plans right now. And this is such a strange slope here that we decided to cut a template so we could find out if we're getting anywhere near where we want to be. Okay, we've got these all prepped up and ready to go. We're going to glue them in. Get this done.
So these are the L brackets that we just made, and we're going to peel them off of the rain gutter forms that we used.
Now that the L brackets are peeled off of the forms, we've got to trim them down so that they're like these. We use this as a guide to get the measure, and now I'm just going to run them through. So that's another 40 feet worth, and somewhere we have more. I think that's enough to do both the port and starboard side tanks. Now there'll be a few more that we're going to need to do when we get to the tops of the diesel tanks, but right now we can't put those on because we have to glue the diesel lids in before we can put the L brackets above them. One of our viewers is concerned, and his concern is that these kerf joints right here that we did on all of the various curves in our boat are going to eventually crack if we don't laminate this due to heat and possibly movement of the boat and heat and cooling. Well, the thing is that the first set of these, which we cut this off of, was over a year ago, and it's been through California summers of 108 degrees and all the way cooling off to near freezing. That's what you get when you live in basically a desert. You get extremes of temperature going back and forth and back and forth. And even within the same week, we had 40 degrees and 93 just recently. And through all of that temperature changes back and forth, this is no such thing as cracking from temperature change. So what about movement and, from the boat? So what if we hit the hell out of this with our hammer here? No cracks. Nothing. Okay, let's hit it some more. It's a boat. It takes a lot of impacts, and not this kind of impact. This is much worse than, a boat doing this to it. What about flexing? Okay. No cracks. I'm really not worried about it. What I just did with this mallet is far worse than what this thing's going to take with a boat mushing around through waves. And the extreme temperatures that we might see on the trip, we've already experienced on these. And you just don't have any cracking going on of these. So epoxy is amazingly strong stuff. And we're really not concerned about these having any issues. But that being said, there's still no reason not to laminate these. We have all kinds of epoxy and glass, and as strong as that is, as I just showed you with this mallet on it, still no reason not to laminate these and just make the boat stronger, so we probably will. This morning we're changing how the cupboard at the back of the starboard forward cabin works, because there used to be a cupboard there with two shelves like you saw us put in earlier in this video on the port side. But on the starboard side, we reconfigured that area so that the next compartment up is a workbench. And the space that would have been in those two shelves, which I'll show you right here, that space up there is now going to become just a straight flat wall, so that we can, and we'll cut out the bulkhead on the other side and have it become space to get into where the bench is. And we'll show you more of that as we get going on it. So the first thing we had to do is figure out the shape we need to cut out of the one bulkhead so we can move it over and glue it into the forward bulkhead. Now, unfortunately it's not going to be long enough, but it'll take up 90% of it. Okay, so now that we mark our template, we'll just cut it out, and then we'll go back inside and take a look at it. Make sure it's right. This is another great use for this peel ply that we pulled off of panels. This stuff is really useful for a lot of different stuff. So if you're ever building a boat like this, don't throw this stuff out. And when you're pulling it off, pull it off in nice big pieces so you can use it for various stuff. And I will tell you, it's hard to pull off in big pieces. And we didn't have one big enough to make this, so we taped two of them together, but that'll still work for this purpose. All right, we'll test it out. All right, let's just see if this fits in this hole first. Okay, cut it out. I'm not going to fit over there because they didn't cut for that. Okay. Now I'm going to go out and do some more work on the table with this. This will be our workroom area, and our bench is down there. So we got to seal this up now. This piece isn't long enough to be used in that other compartment, but that's okay. We're still going to use it. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this one off at this point right here. Make a nice clean 90-degree cut, and then we'll make a piece that extends it out to where it needs to be and has the right shape to it. And then we'll just glue it on right here, and that'll solve that. Now that we've got this piece cut, we're going to set up to glue. We've got a whole bunch of coring in for the shelves that we're going to fill, and for our new hanging closet edges, we're going to fill those. And then we're going to seam these two together right now. So before we do that, let's go test these in the hole. I haven't done that yet. In case you need a little grinding work. We're making some slight adjustments here. I've drawn a black line that Brian's just taking off all the way around. It's a little too snug. So after we're done with getting this fixed up, we can go on the other sides and work on the actual bench that's going to be there for a workbench. We're going to use the shelf pieces that used to be shelves on this side, turn them into the bench on the other side. Finally got them in. So there's our two pieces to be glued in. To seal this wall up is a original wall. Now, this was cut by the factory. We didn't cut that hole in there. It's not their fault. We decided to put a workroom over there, and they'd already made the kit, so we fixed it. All right, we're working on the workbench. It looks like it's within there. It's fine. Yeah. So this is the height our workbench is going to be. We wanted to make it so that you could stand here to work on something. We'll have a stool that'll also be high enough up at the standing height to work with this. And we'll put some cupboards over here so we can have some cupboard storage for things. And of course, all back in here is spare parts storage. So doing all that right here, and then plenty of work here, plenty of space here to work on something like a joker valve or a winch that you want to take apart and clean, service. So small things that you want to take apart and stuff here. Like I say, you'll be in a nice small area that if it's a smelly job, it's not going to take that smell in, because there'll be a hatch for entry in up here. And you can leave stuff here if you're half done working on it and go do other things. So it's nice to have a little work area that's not inside the boat.
So we just finished installing this hanging locker wall, and we have this strange contraption here bracing it up because we didn't want to put screws in it.
Brian's mixing because we're about to start coring and filling edges for all these shelves and such in those forward cabins. So we've got them all set up here. This is actually the bench that we just created for the workroom. This is that wall that we are filling in. So we have to glue these two pieces together. These are the sides of the new hanging lockers that we're adding to the boats, not in the plans. And those are just the leading edges there of the shelving that we put in. So we're going to fill all these cord spots and glue these two together right now.
So I'm going to take some measurements of the bilge tanks for the L brackets that we need to make, and I'm going to call them out to Phil, and he's going to get them on paper. Okay, 22. 9. 21.
All right, we'll move forward into the other measurements.
Okay, so we're going to glue in the sole L bracket supports, and first thing we're going to do is clean with alcohol.
While she's doing that, I have a whole bucket full of these, and what we've done is we've pre-measured and written the numbers on here, what you saw us doing on the other side of the hull earlier. So I just need to match up some numbers here. 17, 22, 22. There's a 22.
I think I need a 17 for over here.
Oh, okay. I'll get you 17. What do you got there?
I got a 23 because we were gonna do a 23 here, but are we gonna hold off on that one?
We are.
Okay.
So you need a 17.
Yeah, I need 17 and I got my 22.
Here's your 17.
Cool.
All right, so those are cleaned. So wipe this edge and just this edge right here, like
Okay.
that. Here's Brian with our epoxy, as usual.
Thank you.
All right. I'm handing all my tools to Brian. So we got these ones here. A couple little ones we have to do, but that was a good start. Now, if I can get out of here without touching any.
I'm just gonna stay here.
You stay here permanently?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm done.
I'm done. I'm in the boat. When are we leaving?
As you can see, we got a lot of the shelving done on both sides of the boat in the forward cabins.
Plus the hanging locker got started over here. All we have to do is put in the top and bottom portion. Then the Admiral will be sewing our netting soon. And we've got these shelves cut out on this side. And as you saw, we also got the workbench on the other side quite far along. So, and all the shelving over there is in as well. And lots and lots of work done in the bilges. They're coming along. Now, the next phase of these is going to be sealing the top edges of where we put the L brackets on. And then we're going to start the long process of multiple layers of West System epoxy to seal those tanks. Because the things like the basalt and such that we put in there earlier, that's for strength reasons. But for sealing it, it's many layers of West System epoxy on the inside of that tank. And so we're going to be getting to that. That'll take us a couple weeks worth because there's so many layers that we have to put through. But we'll keep doing other things on the boat. So we'll spend an hour and put a layer on, then we'll start building further. We may get to start working on the stern cabin since we've got these forward cabins pretty far along now. So we'll head back there and get to the stern cabins. So we will see you next week for all of that, but thank you for watching this week's video.
Yes, thank you, and thank you to all of our patrons listed here. We couldn't do this project without you. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and click on the bell icon to be notified of our next video.
Yeah, it really helps the algorithm on YouTube if you'll make a little like there and leave a comment. And not just for that, but we love reading your comments and answering them. So please do that. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.